Back in the summer of 2015, the popularity of Segways increased rapidly, with the fun self-balancing scooters becoming a trend after they were featured in social media posts by celebrities, such as Justin Bieber. They were easy to learn and caught the eye of South Africa's Devin Peterson, who already had one of the best walk-ons in the sport, with his dancing making him a fan favorite. Peterson was invited to play in the 2015 World Series Finals as a global prospect, and it was at this event that he performed one of the most bizarre walk-ons in PDC history ahead of his first-round match, where he faced Robert Thornton. All looked normal as he approached the stairs, but when he got up onto the stage, there was a Segway waiting for him. He immediately got on it and raced to the other side of the stage. As he turned around, he almost fell, but saved it. He then went to the middle, did some spins, and even performed his signature dance moves. He even shook the hands of the officials whilst still on the board, but he could not cross the Aki, so had to go around it. Peterson used the Segway again at some exhibitions, but we have not seen it on a PDC stage since, even after this tweet which hinted at a return in 2018. Although, it is not exactly a good luck charm, as Peterson lost the game 6-3 with an average of just 82. However, an even crazier walk-on happened in the 1995 World Championship, where Bob Anderson, the 1988 world champion who was nicknamed the Limestone Cowboy and wore cowboy shirts, entered the Circus Tavern, which was the previous home of the PDC World Championship, with a horse walking behind him. Keep in mind, the Circus Tavern had a very low ceiling. According to Anderson, this was the idea of Peter Judge, who was the production manager at Sky. Anderson loves horses, but he said that they don't like him. Looking back at the strange walk-on, which featured a horse which was just over 5 foot 6 inches tall, Anderson said that there was no way he could have ridden the horse, as his head would have hit the ceiling, and that he was more nervous than the horse. He said looking back that it was dangerous and wouldn't be allowed nowadays due to advancements in health and safety. Anderson also speaks about how the horse gets more publicity than him. Gibraltar, a British overseas territory with a population of just 34,000, hosted a European Tour tournament for 9 years, with 8 of the editions being held at Victoria Stadium, including the 2014 edition. The first day of European Tour events are normally fairly quiet, but on the first day of the 2014 Gibraltar Darts Trophy, which was a Friday, it was almost empty. Vincent van der Voort, who was drawn against Kevin Painter in the first round, made fun of this during his walk-on, by placing his hand out for handshakes like normal when there was nobody next to him. Eventually, he did high-five the 2 fans who were stood next to the walkway. Vincent lost the game 6-3, and the venue filled up for the rest of the sessions. Please make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, as currently just 1% of my watch time comes from subscribers. 2014 was just the 3rd season of the European Tour, and it only had 8 events. As the sport was still growing, some fairly strange venues were used, including the Maritim Hotel in Berlin for the German Darts Masters. During the walk-ons at this event, the players had to come down some stairs, and this confused some players, including the number 1 seed Michael van Gerwen. MVG went down the wrong set of stairs, but styled it out dancing back up to take the stage. He reached the final of this event, but lost to Phil Taylor. Back to the Victoria Stadium in Gibraltar now, which hosted its 6th European Tour event in 2018. Rob Cross and Johnny Clayton were both seeded for this event, and they both won 2 matches to get to the quarterfinals. Clayton was up first in the final session, where he faced Van Gerwen. On his way to the stage, Clayton slipped on the stairs and fell onto his hands. He pointed at something on the floor after this, but it was clearly not fixed, as during Cross's walk-on for the next game, he also slipped and fell onto his hands. According to the commentary team, the slips were due to a rogue piece of carpet at the bottom of the stairs. Both of the slippers lost their quarterfinals. John Part, the Canadian 3-time world champion, was nicknamed Darth Maple, a play on the name of Star Wars character Darth Maul. Part was a Star Wars fan and also walked on to the Imperial March. Ahead of various games at big tournaments throughout his career, Part walked on accompanied by people dressed as characters from the films. The most famous edition of this special walk-on came ahead of the 2008 World Championship Final, which was the first PDC final held at Ali Pali, where Part was accompanied by Princess Leia, a stormtrooper, and Chewbacca, who was holding a 180 sign. Part went on to win this game and secure his 3rd world title. On the opening night of the 2009 Premier League, Part was accompanied by Darth Vader, many stormtroopers, and Princess Leia. Part held a lightsaber. Another player who used a special walk-on based on something they were a fan of was Paul Nicholson, the former Players' Championship final winner. Nicholson is a big WWE fan, and his favorite wrestler was CM Punk. Nicholson even went as far as saying that watching Punk inspired him to become a better darts player. Nicholson regularly put his hands round his mouth and shouted, "It's clobbering time," which Punk also shouted on his entrances. Sometimes, he also drew X's on his hands, which Punk also did. In a game against Phil Taylor, he sat on the stage during Taylor's walk-on, mimicking Punk. He also once held up a Nexus scarf, a group that Punk was a part of. During his final year on the tour, he changed his walk-on song to Bad Reputation, which was the entrance song of wrestler and former UFC fighter Ronda Rousey.